Our next question for district representatives, and this will be answered first by Dan Dirks. Dan, where is funding for disability and mental health services on your priority list?
I would put that very high. District 51 is a huge part of who we are here in Carroll and the surrounding area. I know there's homes in outlying towns, and I'm affected by this by a sister-in-law and a first cousin, and I believe that the mental health funding and having them reside in our community as closely as they do, I know it's added a lot to my life. I remember back in the early 70s when I was on a walkathon and we were starting to raise money for New Hope Village, and it's a great place for jobs. And my only apprehension is that in the world that we live in with the abortion rate, the types of individuals that add to our lives in that way don't get to see the light of day. And that saddens me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Dirks. Dan Muehlbauer, where is funding for disability and mental health services on your priority list?
Very high on our list. In Denison, we have Wesco, and Wesco is a very good facility. We have New Hope over here that are great facilities to deal and work with. The sad thing is, like with Wesco over there, we are maxed out on what we can tax and help those people, and they are struggling to make ends meet. We daily deal with that up at the county courthouse, getting enough funding for Wesco, and it's one of the better programs we have. I wish we could really extend it and help it. We're trying to now, because of the funding for that, we have people put on a waiting list, in fact, to get in. That's not what we like to do. We really want to help those people, and I don't know what we can do to get more funding into there. Our county levels were taxed out. We're going to have to go to the state and have the state help backfill some of this to make sure that we keep these areas going strong. And some of the responsibilities that we have in our area is to take care of those people. And I hope we get the funding and improve on what we have already. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Muehlbauer. We have a question now for all 6 candidates. We'll start down at the end, the 2 we haven't had very many questions for. So Marilyn, in your office, you'll be the first to answer this question. What attributes of your work experience and education do you believe make you the best candidate?
I'm the best candidate because of my experience, because of the 15 years I bring to this office, and the leadership that I bring to this office, and that means being involved with the office, being the person that takes the clients in, that takes the person back, goes to the vault, shows them what they need, takes the military discharge, makes sure the paperwork is done concisely and precisely. What attributes, what education? Education is daily. Education is what I bring back from the Recorders Association, from our affiliates, is coming back from meetings, is bringing back to the constituents all the new laws, how to interpret the laws, and the best practice in processing the laws and bringing those to the constituents. It's not just land records, it's vital records, it's military records, it's boat snows, ATVs. It's everything that the Recorder's Office deals with.
Thank you, Marilyn Debite. Sarah Biter, what attributes of your work experience and education do you believe make you the best candidate?
I have the leadership skills that it takes to do this position. I have a great business background. Since I've been 18 years old, I've had 4 full-time jobs, never a time lapse in between employments. And I've excelled very strongly at each of those positions. And I found ways to do things faster, more time efficiently, and I've saved each of my businesses and corporations that I've worked for, I've saved them money. We've found ways to cut back. And I graduated from Kemper High School in 1995, and that was all the education I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah Biter. Same question for the supervisor candidates. Neil, you'll be first. Neil Bach, what attributes of your work experience and education do you believe make you the best candidate?
Oh, I think probably the best was being a founder of a business that we operated for 25 years, and we employed several people at that. It takes a lot of self-motivation, a lot of faith in yourself, and the whole world is on your shoulders there. You don't have any help from anybody else. But I also had 12 years experience, and you don't get awards when you're running your own business. But I also have 12 years' experience working for the Carroll County ASCS, which is now the Farm Service Agency there. And I received state and national recognition at that, which I think is helpful. I had the lowest administrative cost per workday in the state, and there were 99 offices. And that just says I did more work with less money than anywhere else. Also, the office was the only one out of 2,000 offices in the nation that received the Superior Service to Agriculture Award in Washington, D.C. for effective and cost-effective administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil Bach. Cheryl Wagner, what attributes of your work experience and education do you believe make you the best candidate?
I think I used that in my opening statement about my degree in business and my experience in the ag and in farming and in trucking business. But I'd like to tell you what I've accomplished in the last 11 months, and that will tell you this. I will tell you my experiences. I assisted emergency management with the ice storm last winter. I rode around the towns and in unincorporated towns with the mayors to assess the damage done. I voted to implement the Code Red in the county. It delivers emergency messages over the phone lines, cell phone lines, email, and text messages. It serves 7,400 lines. I approved a pay freeze for county officials, saving the taxpayers $80,000. I raised the county's liability insurance from $2 million to $5 million. I'm seeing the Sauk Trail come to a completion November 1st. I voted to approve a $600,000 grant for the purchase of Pack and Save building for New Hope. I voted to approve the purchase of a new ambulance. The county purchased 2 road graders, a snowplow, and a pup. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl Wagner. Now on to the House candidates. We'll begin with Dan Gilbauer. Dan, what attributes of your work experience and education do you believe make you the best candidate?
Well, coming from this area and being a county supervisor for 5 years right now is definitely set the trend for me to move on to state representative with the knowledge I've learned from there. One of the things is, county supervisor 5 years ago when I started, we had a reserve budget of $2 million. In those 5 years since I've been there, we have built that to a $4.2 million reserve fund. Those are things that we can take there. Another project we have going on as a county supervisor that can take along, we talk about infrastructure. Up in the Schleswig area, we have 50 new wind towers coming in, and we are going for the first time to think outside of the box. And we are going to TIF those wind towers. We're going to build 8 new miles of highway going from Schleswig towards Mapleton at a cost of $750,000 to $800,000. And if we can do 8 miles of highway without raising any property tax, without doing any cost to the public, think of what we can do at the State House. 8 miles there is like 80 miles, 90 miles at the state. Those are things that I can bring. I have the knowledge, I have the experience. I feel I'm best suited for this job. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Gilbauer. Dan Dirks, what attributes of your work experience and education do you believe make you the best candidate?
Well, my attributes started June 15th, 1963 when I was born, and I was born just north of here, and I was born into a farming family, and that's the way I lived and moved into town when I was 7. I look through the room and I see some folks that knew me back in them days. I've always been a curious individual, and I haven't been afraid of much. I went into the Air Force. I worked on the West Coast. I found myself in a lot of different situations where I thought I could make a difference. I have a biblical worldview. I have a sound knowledge of American history and what makes America great. I'm sold out to the fact that we are the only nation in the world where people actually break the law to get into our economy. And I want to expand on that, and I want that greatness to come back to America and back to Iowa. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Dirks.